Down in Buenos Aires, Jason, Anna, and Charlotte return to a hostel room. Charlotte blames Anna for her father having to run for his life. Anna tells Charlotte there's a lot she doesn't understand, but Charlotte says she transferred the WSB after her father and has ruined both her and her father's lives. Charlotte screams, "I detest you." Jason intercedes and asks for a moment alone with Charlotte. Anna defenses herself, and Jason tells Charlotte that Anna is the only reason she and her pater are still alive. He explains that Anna was the bone who advised her pater that he was in trouble in Port Charles, and she was the bone who let her and her pater escape. He says Anna's been guarding the both of them, and she deserves a little respect. Charlotte heads to bed, and Anna asks Jason to take Charlotte and return to Port Charles. She'll get another hostel room so that Charlotte doesn't have to be around her and will get back to Port Charles on her own. Jason tells her Valentine is to condemn for his situation, and Charlotte doesn't want to accept it. Jason says Charlotte doesn't need Anna to avoid her, she needs to see Anna has made miscalculations and is trying to hold herself responsible. Anna agrees to see this through, and they'll need to keep an eye on Charlotte together. They decide to stand shifts to make sure Charlotte doesn't escape. In Carly's office at the Metro Court, Sasha tells her that she's decided to decline her job offer and stay with the Quartermaines. Sasha explains that she loves the kitchen and having her own space and thinks the kiddies need her. She's also in a much better fiscal situation and has negotiated a nice nest egg for her and her baby. Carly tells her there's still the matter of her baby's father, and says Jason will no way give her orders, no way tell her how to be a mama, and will always be there for her and this baby. She asks Sasha not to cut him out of her child's life. Sasha explains her baby's father respects her and her choices, and it's the alternate topmost gift he gave her. Sasha knows her position differs from that of other single maters, and she asked the father to step back. Carly says she may change her mind once the baby is born, as life loves throwing curveballs. Sasha promises that if she needs help from the father, she'll ask for it. Portia surprises Curtis at his office and brings up how Drew must miss this place. She's still shocked at Drew's metamorphosis, but Curtis handled it in stride. She says he won, so perhaps now is a good time to call an armistice with Drew. Curtis says he says if there's a path to peace, also he's then for it, as long as the terms are reasonable. Jordan interrupts and is sorry but says Drew is officially out of control. She fills them in on Cryptgate. Portia thinks they should stay out of the Quartermaines drama, but Jordan says this is about Drew abusing his power. Curtis says the only thing that will check Drew is public roar. Jordan is glad she knows someone who heads a media company. Curtis says she'll see what he can do. Portia begs Curtis not to get involved, but he can't let this go. He calls someone and instructs them to do a big media drive on Drew's abuse of power. In the PCPD interrogation room, Drew hopes Chase has a free cell as nothing can be done about Tracy's situation until morning. Tracy calls Drew despicable, and she can't believe he's Alan's son. Tracy misses her family every day, but the tableware filling in his early death is that he no way had to meet Drew. In the station, Laura meets Martin, who says effects are fleetly spinning out of control. Laura learns about the vault failure from him. Chase comes out of the interrogation room, and Laura asks if the charges against Tracy will stick. Chase says they could if the surveyor testifies against her. Martin thinks this would have happened if Tracy had just given in, but Laura says she's guarding her family name. Drew tells Tracy he's sick of this family's insincerity as they've all prevaricated and cheated, and all he did was fall in love. Tracy tells him that falling in love is one thing, but acting on it with his Horson's woman is another. She yells that he blew up Willow's marriage, he betrayed Michael's trust, and he hurt the woman who ate him into her home, Monica. Tracy says he doesn't earn to be a member of their family, so why doesn't he leave city? He points out she's been demurred out of Port Charles by her family before, and it could be again. Drew says he's still a Quartermaine, and he'll get his way. He taunts her that she'll be the one to end up on the outs, and he'll be the reason she got there. Chase interrupts as he says Laura wants a word. Drew exists, and Laura urges Drew to do the right thing, stand down, and drop the charges. Drew asks why he'd do that. Laura says it wouldn't forebode well for him politically or else if he doesn't. Drew says they broke the law, but Laura says putting Tracy in jail isn't the path to justice. Drew agrees to let Tracy go, but this is far from over. Martin warns Drew that he doesn't need an adversary like Tracy Quartermaine. He says everyone differently may be hysterical of Tracy, but not me. Drew says, I'm going to break her. Laura goes into the interrogation room and tells Tracy she can go home tonight, but she doesn't suppose Drew is going to back down about the vault. Tracy says she wouldn't let Drew steal her family name, or move her parents, however, bring it on. If Drew Kane wants a battle. Gio is standing guard at the vault, as he told Tracy he would. Emma tells him not to go anywhere and rushes off. She soon returns with field chairpersons from the boathouse and some robes to stay warm. Emma brings up what a haul Drew was to Tracy. Gio notes Tracy can handle herself, so she doesn't need to jump into this mess. Emma says her mama always called her a born zealot. Gio admits if someone tried to move his mama from her sleeping place, he'd presumably end up in jail too. Emma wishes she could stay, but she has to get to her beast atrocity meeting. He understands, and she tells him to stay warm out then. At the Quartermaine manse, Brooke Lynn asks her mama what she has told her about her child. Lois asks where this is coming from. Brooke Lynn informs her that Martin has an entire train on her child. He knows Dante is the father, and she told Martin that she had son. Why? Suddenly Gloria wanders in, sees the pressure in their faces and asks, what in the Bensonhurst is going on then? Brooke Lynn says it's a particular and illegal matter. Gloria assumes this is about her baby. Lynn is shocked that her mama told her grandmother. Lois says she demanded help navigating what happened back also. Brooke Lynn still doesn't understand why her mama went and talked to a council. She assumes Commodity is wrong with the situation her child is in, he's in trouble. Gloria claims she was the bone. Who told Lois to talk to Martin? Gloria wanted to make sure they were all defended, and they decided on an unrestricted relinquishment long ago. Brooke Lynn says effects have changed, and she needs to know who espoused her son and where he is. Brooke Lynn snappily realizes Gloria knows where her son is. Gloria admits she does but says Lois doesn't know anything. She tells Brooke Lynn she made the right decision times ago by giving him up, and now she needs to abide by it. Brooke Lynn says it doesn't feel right, and she exits. Lois cries to her mama that Lynn is agonized and she needs to know that Gio is her son. Gloria says they can't tell her, as Gio worshipped his mama, so don't take that from him. Lois says Camilla is dead, and Joe's birth mama is then in this same house as he is. She thinks they need one another. Gloria insists that revealing the verity will only ruin Brooke Lynn, Dante, and Joe's lives. Brooke Lynn and her child still need her to cover them now. Brooke Lynn finds Gio sitting surveillance at the vault and asks why. He explains everything that went down. She joins him and he says he knows why he's then, but why is she? She explains she demanded fresh air and to clear her head. Brooke Lynn reveals that Gloria is then, and both she and her mama are asking her to accept Commodity that's hard to live with. Brooke Lynn goes on to say she trusted someone, and they didn't tell her Commodity they should have. She can't say anything differently. He says she doesn't have to, and though he loves them, he knows Lois and Gloria are a lot. He says it must be nice having them look out for her. Brooke Lynn thinks he must miss his mama, and Gio does. Brooke Lynn tells him to flash back he has people looking out for him too. She rubs his shoulder. At Maxie's, Dante explains Maxie took James for ice cream, and he's watching Bailey Lou for her. They talk about Rocco, and Lulu's concerned as the boy doesn't feel to be suitable to be in the same room as her. Dante's noticed it too, so Commodity has to be going on. Lulu fears Rocco feels like she's chosen Charlotte over him. Dante doesn't suppose that's it, and he thinks Rocco is trying to give her space because he sees how upset she's about Charlotte. Lulu feels like she missed out on so important of Rocco's life and doesn't know how to parent a teenager. Dante says she's doing great, and she missed out on a knob of both her children's lives. He says she's making up for lost time with grace, love and tolerance. Dante admits if he was in her situation, he wouldn't be handling it as well as she is. Lulu apologizes for how their former discussion ended, and so does Dante. He knows he didn't make effects easier for her by defending Brooklyn. Dante tells Lulu it's a phenomenon having her back, and he doesn't take her being then for granted. Lulu says she needs to tell him commodity, but Bailey Lou begins crying, and he has to rush and tend to her. Dante brings Bailey Lou out and allows her to play with some dolls. Dante asks what Lulu had to say to him, but she says she can't flash back. Laura tells Curtis she'll hail anyone who exposes Drew. Rick has bad news for Portia. Drew prodigies if Willow is embarrassed to be seen with him.